Hello and welcome to today's game between two players on chess.com, rated below 800. Let's get on with it. Okay, right, so white played e4. Let's have a little look. E6 marking the beginning of the French defense. Okay, right, not one of the typical responses. Probably didn't fancy playing the main line. Okay, so normally here, white plays d4 and then d5 happens. Okay, right. The French defense is also used to prevent the scholar's mate, which typically does kind of go like this. And then after bishop c4, they kind of gang up on the pawn on f7. And if black is not careful, he can get checkmated quite easily on f7. Okay, so that's one plus for beginners to know about the French defense. Okay. All right. Anyway, queen h5, queen f6. Okay. I probably attack the queen with tempo whilst developing a knight. Where would the queen go? Probably f3, h3 even. I think it would be quite pointless. Let's say if we put it on here, it would be quite pointless because once again, it would just be attacked again and again. And it's just constantly being harassed. Okay, and even here, white will probably have to look after this uh, pawn here to prevent the fork of the rook on a1 and the king on e1. Okay, something like that. Okay, so after queen f6, okay, knight f3, maybe bishop g5 for white. That might possibly happen. Okay, knight c6. Okay, so knight c6, knight b4, looking to fork the pawn on c2, which will then fork the rook in the corner and the king on e1. Okay, so something for white to look out for. So a good idea would be to play e5. Okay, but I wouldn't do that. I would play c3. I'll play c3, preventing the knight from coming to the square b4. Okay. Okay, initiating trades. Okay, so even after takes at knight b4, then and there's various ways for white to continue. Let's just play play through the moves. Okay, so knight b4, uh, king d1 doesn't appeal to me because you lose casting rights, but the queens are off, so you can think about going into the end game. Knight a3 is absolutely fine. It's not my ideal choice because after knight c6, maybe it's okay. Maybe it's okay. Knight c6, knight b5, threatening the fork once again on c7. So maybe it's not too bad. Knight a3. Okay, but definitely not a good idea is bishop d3 because black kind of loses. No, sorry, white kind of loses the bishop pair, has damaged pawns. Just just doesn't really. It's not my cup of tea. I don't think. Okay, so then after takes bishop e7, and then the knight has to move back, maybe h4 even, but then it can still get kicked with h6, and black is up in development. He can get his king castle. White has double d pawns. Don't know whether that's a strength or a weakness right now, but the pawn structure is just a little bit ugly. Of course, white can kind of rectify it somehow by playing this and then supporting e4 with d3. Pawn on d4 looks secure, so maybe it's not too bad. Not as bad as I thought. Anyway, okay. So right, so white wanted to initiate the queen trade. Knight b4, knight b4, knight a3. Did that happen? Knight e3 did indeed happen. Okay. H6. Okay. Asking white, what are you going to do with the queen? Okay, I thought this might happen. I think black would struggle to develop his pieces, so maybe something like, let's say here, e3, and then there's some sort of awkwardness of trying to uh, develop the knight on f8. Okay, it could go to g6, could go to c6 even. Okay, so what would black do? No, I wouldn't do that. Maybe. How about knight e7 first? Kick the knight away here, here, get a nice big center, and then knight g6 maybe. Yeah, maybe knight g6, or maybe even just fianchetto the bishop on this diagonal. Doesn't really appeal to me. So you can see the queen gets kind of blocked in by its own knight. So that's kind of what I was saying about the um, uh, not initiating the queen trade by white with queen takes queen on f6. Maybe move away and then black to free up his pieces. Maybe have to maybe black has to move his queen once more. Okay, so that kind of wastes the tempo. Okay. Knight 3, h6, provoking the queen exchange. Okay, and then black, this is great. This is what black wanted. He's developed the knight freely. Excellent. Okay, so it's gone to f6 himself. Okay, push, push, push. Okay, right. Now he's going after the c7 pawn. So what does the black side do? Can't really play this. Or can you? Maybe it's okay. Yeah, no, you can. But the pawn structure will be a little bit ugly. Something like this, it, it would really cramp up black. He's probably okay. He could probably reroute that knight to uh, e7, e7, c8 somehow. Not too sure. And then get itself over to the queen side, maybe to g6 even. And then look at that weak pawn, weak square on f4. Just an idea. Okay. So how did he parry it? King d8. Okay. So b3, okay, so the pawn on e4 is a little bit weak. So even here, I'd prefer to play d3, but I would even consider this. It kind of gets in the way of the pawn on d2, but after knight, bishop c2, then you could push for d4 anyway. So I would seriously consider that. But white decided to play b3. Is he looking at bishop a3, exchanging the bishop? Okay, so he's lost the pawn. Bishop b2. Okay. Okay. Black's hoping for knight takes and then bishop takes back, developing itself. Okay, free development. That's kind of his idea. Okay. Okay. Black's made his pawn structure ugly. Okay. Okay, and white's trying to free himself there. Okay. Opening up the line of the bishop. Okay, so here maybe knight b4. I don't know how to prevent that. King d1 looks a bit ugly, but it might be necessary. No bishop d3 idea. Stopping the knight coming to c2 because the knight would just take the bishop itself. Okay. d5, pawn takes. a3, preventing knight b4, bishop d3, and then after knight b4, bishop b1. Okay, okay. Yeah, I think a better idea would have been to develop this bishop and then castle the king. Okay, bishop d3 still. Okay, taking the pawn. Yeah, probably better. Okay, bishop e2, bishop knight d4. No, that's prevented. So bishop e2 is okay. Now you'd probably be thinking, what can I do with the bishop and the king? Because castling leads to the loss of the bishop. So let's see what black plays first. Okay, b6. Looking to uh, pin the bishop. Okay, so maybe a good idea now would be to just place the king on f1 or d1, and just say, hey, break the pin, and move on. Okay, so did white see that? Okay, maybe quick check. Okay, now does he see it? No, yeah, no, doesn't see it. So rook. Right. Okay, so it was time for rook e2. Okay, doesn't get trapped. Okay, doesn't get trapped. Okay, so this is one of the things that beginners make the mistake of. They keep seeing the same plan. They see a plan and they go after it, which is correct. But in the meantime, they miss little tactics like this. Okay, rook takes e2. Okay, and then somehow they lose themselves. Okay, right, knight takes d2. Yep, now the house is crumbling now. Okay, attacking the bishop whilst undeveloping the knight. Okay, okay, losing more pieces. Okay, going after the f7 pawn. Okay, black prevents it. Okay, black is completely losing. Attacking the bishop. Bishop there. Rook d6. Rook d6. Rook d6 is okay because after here the knight comes the pawn on e5, preventing the pin. Okay, losing itself. Okay, right. Not much to look at really. Yep, and resign. Well, it happens. Hopefully, you learned a lot there. Develop your pieces. Learn how to exchange to gain some kind of benefit from it. Okay, lots to learn. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.